I do not want to see any of you attacking any of these people. Whether you agree, disagree, any of that, right? Can everybody give me a thumbs up? Kenji and Bao are now under fire, chat. That is right. So a lot of people are calling out Bao and Kenji because they are quote-unquote fat shaming with these new models. So let's take a look at what is going on with this drama. Everson Lily says, Bao, I know it's not just you. Apparently it's been a few people. Whether this is a joke or not, please understand how hurtful this can be to the plus-size kings and queens of the community. Probably get a lot of shit for this from your community, but you should understand how hurtful this is and how not okay this is. So Blake says, not gonna lie, a huge part of me felt uncomfortable seeing this. It sort of caused me to remember some terrible teenage memories, being bullied and harassed for my weight, especially my sister. Rando says, oh, come on, this isn't a discrimination thing. The Bowberry thing is supposed to be a joke, something to have fun with. It's not a negative view on chubby people. It's supposed to be a meme. They say it's done in such a poor taste, it's not funny at all. Just to keep reading, I'm fat and I really don't agree. People keep saying it's just inflation. This isn't inflation at all. This is just a weight gain. She looks like a very big woman. Inflation entails blowing up to balloon type shape, like the blueberry scene in Willy Wonka, which isn't fat adjacent. This is just fat jokes. So here's what I want to say, chat. This already looks like an inflation type thing to me. I know that the Bowberry is supposed to be a joke on like the Willy Wonka thing, right? And I think this is like the way that she is recreating it, right? So that is at least what I think, but let's read everything, chat. Celeste says, as a plus-size person who suffers from PCOS, which is incurable illness that causes weight gain, I'm absolutely disheartened by this toggle. Our bodies aren't a punchline for a joke, and there are many reasons people may be overweight. It's 2024, and you have the potential to impact a large community, so why spread hate and shame your community? I encourage Bao to learn about weight gain, and to please do better in the future. No, we can agree to disagree. It all comes down to personal boundaries. Sometimes a joke is not meant to do harm. I fully understand that. To myself and to some of the community, joking about conditions that may or may not be in their control in crossing a line. Now, I can tell you, chat, they absolutely locked this because they were getting roasted in the quote retweets. Sunny says, here's what I don't think people are kidding about. Why this is harmful to people who are plus size, coming from a person who's a plus size woman. For ages, plus size people have always been the butt of the joke. People look at us and laugh. Can't wear anything revealing because somebody will comment on the stretch marks, you know, kind of etc, etc. We have a comment here from Kirchi. It says this has to do with the fetish called inflation. She was referencing it in the California Girls. They're so inflatable song parody. She has it's a joke based on a niche fetish. Imagine trying to farm victim points off this. I will have you know, chat, I've known about the Bowberry joke for like forever. This has been a big thing in Bao's community for a long time. And I know that this particular thing in the stream, they were talking about inflation, and this is where it came from. Bao has admitted, she has said that she does have an inflation kink, and this is what she's talking about. But again, let's keep reading. Aki goes on to say, you know, I thought as we matured into adults, making fun of fat, thick, curvy people would die out. But no, instead they make fat toggles for models now. I don't know, this is super disappointing to me. I'm thicker, and this kind of hurts, not going to lie. I'm thicker because of a health problem coupled with primitive foot damage from an injury. I've been skinny, I've been fat, I've been muscular, and now I'm in between. I will just never understand any form of body shaming. I definitely agree, like, there's no point in body shaming anybody. But I think it's good to kind of get somebody more notable in the space and kind of get this take on this one. One of the final reactions that I wanted to talk about here, which came from Nin. This is the one that I 100% agree with. This is the only take that I'm like, yeah, I think this is spot on. Knowing Bao and knowing how she is, I don't think she meant harm. And I think that the inflation thing is separated from the fat stuff, if that makes sense. Now, we are going to talk about something because I'm going to tell you, Bao did mess up. I do not believe she's 100% innocent, but this is the best take that I've seen on it, so let's read it. I've been seeing a ton of heat on these two models recently, and I don't vibe with vague postings, so let's talk about it. And of course, they're talking about the Kenji and the Bao models here. Now, I would have disarmed this immediately. Kenji is not fat shaming. His model is a direct rip of the South Park model. It is to talk about Sweaty Gamer, is a parody of that. Kenji is 100% innocent. He has not done anything in regards to this to fat shame anybody. This is just a parody. So let's take a look here. I am plus size, low background. I got sick and gained a lot of weight after chemo, on the steroids. I managed to lose weight again, but got sick for a second time, so last fall. I'm paused on my weight loss journey while I finished my treatment again. They just say I've dealt with the opposite sides of the weight spectrum many times. I'm privileged to have a more conventional fat figure, but I've dealt plenty with the treatment that comes with being fat, so I wanted to get my opinion. I'm not the voice of every creator, so take what resonates and leave what it doesn't. So I think fat phobia exists in the Vtuber community 100%. And this is absolutely true. I think there are cruel, superficial people who do not see any worth in anybody that doesn't match typical beauty standards, regardless of medical or mental health. I think VTubing can still be very much about looks, regardless of talent, or literally playing a character that isn't supposed to be the person behind the model. I think it's very sad. Plus-size creators can offer the same quality, but not get recognized simply for existing in a bigger body. However, I do not see either of these models as fatphobic. Neither of these are supposed to be representative of real people. Kenji's model is very clearly just a parody of the South Park character in the WoW episode. Yes, the character is based off a real man, but his design was also heavily parodied. And being fat isn't even the joke. Exactly. That being fat is not the joke. He's just a lazy slob, gamer-type sweat guy. Skinny ones exist too. This just happened to be the South Park version. You know what's fat. I'm not offended by that rank shirt and terrible game for his double chin. And then Bao, it is clearly an inflation joke. She looks like a literal circle, like a blueberry. Those proportions do not exist even in a real person. Even more, it feels like poking fun at the inflation kink rather than fat people themselves. And I agree with this. I really do think that they were talking about the inflation that comes from Willy Wonka. The Bao berry was where that came from. And that model is rooted within the inflation kink and not being fatphobic or anything like that. Here's what I'm going to talk about. Bao did make a song called California Girls, and in it has some pretty questionable lyrics. Now, do I think the song and this model go together? No. He made this song with the chat. It's called California Girls, and it definitely starts off more inflation kink, but it gets kind of bad later. And one thing I want to point out is this song right here, and the inflation thing are completely separate. Completely separate. So that's why I think the model and what happened here has nothing to do with being fatphobic. But anyway, let's take a look.
Blueberries are bigger. Warm, wet and wild. I can't. There must be something in the water. Yeah. Sipping blubber juice. Crushing underneath my caboose. You're done. The boys. They're next. Trying to creep a little sneak peek. Fat
It takes about 2 minutes in. About 2 minutes in.
But nothing comes close.
I would say that's just boring.
Once you inflate
So,
my butt,
nothing.
you'll be farting with lust.
I mean, we're talking about inflation. Kind of nothing totally wrong here. You know what I mean? Inflation again. Okay, diabetes joke. Sure.
Doorknob where?
What's this excuse to watch Prince? I swear it has to do with the argument.
On the beach, we don't mind sand in our belly bulge.
And this is kind of where it starts talking about obesity.
We eat Minecraft. Christian singles on the stereo. Oh. You could let Mother World.
Oh my goodness, glad this part wasn't under cringe. I lose. Yeah, I would have lost.
What is
Yeah.
that?
She is a whale. Yeah, she is a whale.
Growing a chub. I can't. California girls were so insatiable. Heart disease.
Referencing heart disease, triple chins. So this is the part where we got past the inflation and more into the the fat jokes, you know? So this right here, this is the part that I go, that's a bit too much. Other than that though, yeah, I don't think Bao really did anything. I don't think that it's fair to draw a correlation between this model and this song when these were at completely different times. Here's my opinion, chat, and you're welcome to chat with me about it, but I'm gonna lay it out for you. Kenji didn't do anything wrong. Bao, she had some questionable song lyrics in this thing, but this model has nothing to do with being fatphobic. This song was at a completely separate time. I think drawing correlation to fatphobic and inflation model is not really there at all. I don't think that drawing those two things together, fatphobic and inflation, is the same thing. They're two separate things. These lines in the song Not really the best, I will say, but other than that, that's kind of it. I think that if we just like have a conversation about it and just like look at like, yeah, this is more meant to be something funny about inflation. It has nothing to do with being fat phobic. I think more people be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. We are always going to see bigger creators come under fire because there's definitely like this thought process. People love to dogpile on other people. Love to dogpile on other people, especially big creators. People love to tear down bigger creators. Other people that are successful, people hate that. That's some of your perception, someone plus size. Absolutely see that as fat shaming out of context. Sure, absolutely, Eldasar. Like, I completely get that, and that's your perception, and you are 1 bajillion% entitled to it. And I think that the difference that we have in our perception is good, right? It makes this open for a conversation. It doesn't mean that we're enemies, right? Just because we have a different perception and a different thought process, that means that we can share with each other our thoughts and have a conversation and come together and understand each other better. Holy shit, that was the most big brain thing I've ever said in my life. Like, sometimes I'm a little big brain.